All right, the time is 4:30, November 14th, 2023. We will call the meeting of the Board of Commissioners for Skagit PUD to order. Ask that you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So second it.
Motion is second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda is adopted. At this time, if you're a member of the public wishing to offer comment, you can step to the podium. Seeing all staff in the room tonight, we'll look on Zoom. It's like the same story there. So at this time, we will move to the general manager's report. And George.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Good afternoon, everyone. A few things to update on. It's been a few weeks since we had a meeting. Speaking of meetings, so the Waputa meetings are being held this week. You probably got emails about that. They're being held in person in Olympia and virtually as well. So you can attend. If you like, the water committee meeting is on Thursday afternoon. Doesn't look like in the water committee or the commissioners roundtable, didn't look like anything really pressing on the agendas. So it's up to you. I think earlier today, Shannon sent out an invitation for training day. So you get that on your calendar. It's on Friday, December 22nd. And obviously all the commissioners are invited to attend with the staff. We do distribution of service awards, the year-end slideshow, and then we've got some fun training planned for training day. And then before that, earlier in December on the 2nd, we have our annual holiday party. So invitation should have went out for that as well. That's being held at Sean O'Donnell's, the old farmhouse. So if you can make that, you're welcome. The Fidalgo Island water system transfer seems to be going well. And so I say that because we haven't had any comments from customers or from the city. I think Bill gave internally a little update last week. Same thing, he hadn't heard anything. So I think things are going as expected. And we'll start working on our easement cleanup next year. So that's good. Obviously Sarah's here from the port, but we had a broadband work group meeting over at the port office last week. So just a brief update on that. So in attendance, we had Sarah was there, Joe Perret was there, and Commissioner Hull from the port. And then we had Commissioner Janicki from the county there as well. We discussed continued operations of SkagitNet in general, but more specifically the upcoming funding opportunities from the BEAD program from the federal government. BEAD is broadband equity access and deployment. And the big thing for us, we want to leverage that new conduit we put in as part of the transmission line project. And we want to get our treatment plant hooked up to our admin building as well as some other facilities, but the community might be able to leverage that conduit as well to get service into other areas. So that was a big topic of conversation. I don't think we have any more meetings on the calendar, so we'll have to get some more scheduled in the new year. Okay, so between Carmen and Shannon, we'll get that organized. For pipeline replacement projects, we're opening bids for one project tomorrow. We're doing a project up at the country club, and we had a pre-bid meeting last week and it was very well attended. So we're expecting a lot of bids to open tomorrow. And then we're planning another project to go to bid later this year, early next year for a pipe replacement in West Mount Vernon. And both of those were on the budget for 2023. We moved them to 2024 just to try and take advantage of the winter bidding climate because we've done well with that the last couple of years. Putting them out this time of year usually gets a lot of interest, and it looks like this one will for sure at least. So that's good. I'll update you when we get some bids. And then lastly, KVA Electric is waiting for some equipment to arrive to finish the project at the SRD, get the transformer all squared away. So when that arrives and they finish that work, then again, I'll bring the recommendation to cancel the emergency declaration at that point. So not quite there yet. And that's all that I have for an update.
Very good. Any questions of George? All right, so at this time, it looks like we're gonna jump into the 2024 SkagitNet budget plan of operations. Sarah.
Sure, thank you very much. Yeah, I want to start by thanking you all so much, one, for your partnership, and two, very much for participating in this work group and joining us in partnership, Commissioner Miller and George. It's been really great to have a chance to have a little off-channel time to really work through where we're going next with operating SkagitNet, which is a dynamic scene, is what I'll say. Couple highlights from the 2024 budget. This is the first year that we have climbed out of being in a deficit position, which our original financial projections called for that. We knew we were going to have some lean years as we built our revenues and tried to hold our expenses. And this year we actually are running net revenue of a little over $66,000. Big changes there. One, our revenues are growing. Two, our expenses are holding. And three, we have removed staff from the budget. We've tinkered with that a little bit in the past. And at this point, we do have a contract staff person working on this. That's Joe Perret. He's really focused on the capital project development. So we pushed into the capital budget. So we're going to recover those costs on the capital side and take the pressure off the operating budget. So that's kind of the big news on our 2024 operating budget. Some highlights from that plan of operations. The only significant change to the plan of operations is under how we operate or how we manage our fiber. So it's the network mapping and the splice cut sheet management. It's on page 8. Probably won't notice that very subtle change, but in the past we had contracted with Petrichor for those services. We terminated that contract early this year and went to a contract with NoaNet. For various reasons, mostly capacity at NoaNet, we were not finding success with that contract. And so we've taken that in-house. So I have I have a project manager working on that, Travis Benches. He's doing our capital project management for fiber, and he is now handling the network managing and splicing assignments and doing a great job. So that's been good. Other changes, SkagitNet really is an operating entity. There isn't a capital budget to speak of. There may be in the future as we work out of this sort of initial capital grant funded effort to build out the community. But at this point, capital projects are run through the port. We handle those just for simplicity of contracting. PUD has some projects and fiber then that gets rolled into the network. But really our respective entities are managing capital projects. SkagitNet doesn't have its own capital budget. So not asking for approval of a capital budget, but have provided a capital project tracking sheet that will keep up to date. So you can see where the large projects are happening currently and whether they're in progress or complete. At this point, we've either completed or have grant funding secured for about $20 million worth of construction for fiber alone. And that doesn't include fiber that is being built with PUD water lines right now. We will work on when we work on the Judy Reservoir connection with some BEAD funding. I think that would be a good one to put on here. But huge percentage of that, over 18 million, is covered by grant funding currently. We do have a little bit of debt service on the East County fiber to the home system. That was the fiber to the home that we built in the communities east of Cedar Woolley to Marble Mount, and we have about $850,000 of curb loan on that. And I think that's at about a 2% interest rate. We've got a lot of curb funding at the port right now. So there is some debt service. The port covers that. My objective at SkagitNet has been, let's get the operating budget revenues covering the operating expenses, and then let's start to absorb capital costs so that eventually we have a really self-sustaining network that can pay for its own system expansion. That's ultimately what we want. This is the first year that our cash flow shows that the operating revenues are capable of servicing the debt on that East County system. So that's also a really nice milestone for us. I think there's not much else to say. I think once we have completed the Fur Island system and the Bow system, the Bow outlying area grant that we have currently, we will have served about 2,000 homes throughout the county, Fur Island, Bow Edison, and then of course those communities east of Cedar Woolley all the way to Marblehead. We are constantly modeling what the need is in this community, and so there's still about 6,700 homes that need to be served with fiber in this community that meet the unserved definition. And that's where we're looking to the BEAD funding to fill that. So we'll just keep working with you all and modeling out those projects. So entertain any questions, and otherwise just looking to pass this budget and this plan of operations for 2024. Incidentally, the Port Commission met at 2:00 this afternoon and did pass the budget and plan of operations.
Well, I don't have any questions, but I do have a
Straightforward.
comment, and that's well done. And it is a hard thing to do, and you're doing it well, and I personally appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I move that we approve the 2024 budget for SkagitNet.
Second.
A motion is second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Thank you.
opposed? All right, that is adopted. Moving on to our budget now, the 2024 budget resolution 2301-23. Adopting the calendar year 2024 budget. Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So tonight, just would like to continue on with the discussion with the budget. There's a memo and the updated, I called it the adopted budget from the proposed budget. The memo goes through the changes that we've had during the past 6 or 7 weeks that we've been discussing the budget process. A couple of those changes were on the capital projects, a couple changes to the overall cost of the fish passage projects, and also we moved 2 of those projects from 2025 into 2024. The big change was a deduct on the 9th and Highland storage tank, and Mike gave information on that the total estimated cost is a bigger project than what we had anticipated for this year, encapsulating that whole storage tank. So we're going to put that off. And then there was some changes to the overall budget for COLA merit that impacted Social Security and medical changes for a net deduction of about $42,000 in salaries and benefits. And then Jay had some added confined space equipment that we needed to get added to the budget that we mentioned in one of the work sessions too. So that's a $12,000 add. So overall, the net change is a negative $255,000 from the proposed to tonight's budget. But we did set aside time to talk about any additions or changes that you would like to add tonight, or answer any questions about the memo that we covered. So happy to answer those now.
I just want to say how much I appreciate your guys' time. I know that I had a lot of questions my very first budget round, and hope they dwindle as time goes on, but I really appreciate all the detail and spreadsheets and getting into the weeds that I had requested. And I just think that the budget that's been presented obviously has been very well thought out, and a lot of the any fringe things that we would be concerned about were not even brought to us whatsoever. It just feels like the forethought was, how do we provide quality service and take care of our employees at the same time? So I besides that, I just can't say enough good things about this process. And thank you.
Yeah, every well-run company knows their numbers, and it shows this is a well-run company because we know our numbers, and this has spent the whole process. Kudos to you and your team.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No, it's been another good run at it here for 2024 budget. So I'm totally comfortable with what's been presented.
Well, I move we approve the budget.
My second.
Motion and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Budget for 2024 is adopted.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, so with that, looks like we have our usual informational items in there. Any commissioner comments this evening?
No.
None?
No.
Okay. All right, so with that, we will convene an executive session to consider the sale of property per RCW 42.30.110. Approximate time 20 minutes.
If we convene at, I don't know, 5:15,
No, or
5:10.
yeah, approximate time 25 minutes. Reconvene at 5:10.
Okay.
We will recess.